สนับสนุนโดย AIS ใช้ชีวิตได้มากกว่า
ไทม์ไลน์สุดที่ชายหยุ่นวันนี้เป็นเรื่องที่ผมเชื่อว่าคนไทยทุกคนสนใจครับเพราะว่าเป็นเรื่องเกี่ยวกับเขาพระวิหารหนังสือเล่มนี้เป็นหนังสือที่ออกใหม่เป็นหนังสือที่คนเขียนบอกว่าน่าที่จะมีข้อมูลครบถ้วนที่สุดเล่มหนึ่งเกี่ยวข้องกับเรื่องเขาพระวิหารโดยเฉพาะกรณีความขัดแย้งระหว่างไทยกับกัมพูชาตั้งแต่ขึ้นศาลโลกครั้งแรกมาจนถึงครั้งหลังนี้และมีเอกสารที่ทางการสหรัฐนี่ปล่อยออกมาหลังจากที่เป็นเอกสารลับทางราชการมายาวนานคุณจอห์นเบอร์เจอร์สคนเขียนคนนี้บอกว่าได้ข้อมูลใหม่หลายเรื่องที่คนไทยคนกัมพูชาหรือคนทั่วโลกที่ติดตามเรื่องเขาพระวิหารอาจจะไม่เคยได้ยินไม่เคยได้เห็นจอห์นเบอร์เจอร์สเป็นนักหนังสือพิมพ์ครับเคยทำงานกับเนชั่นเริ่มต้นใหม่ๆเมื่อ40 กว่าปีก่อนหลังจากนั้นคุณจอห์นเบอร์เจอร์สก็ไปเป็นนักข่าวให้กับ Washington Post และมีความสนใจในเรื่องราวของไทยกัมพูชาอย่างลึกซึ้งหนังสือเล่มนี้เป็นเล่มที่3ที่คุณจอห์นได้เขียนขึ้นมาชื่อ Temple in the Clouds วัดนี้อยู่ในเมฆหมอกที่น่าที่จะค้นหาและค้นคว้าวันนี้ผมจะคุยกับจอห์นเบอร์เจอร์สครับซึ่งมาเมืองไทยเพื่อที่จะมาบอกกล่าวว่าหนังสือเล่มนี้น่าสนใจอย่างไร Hi John, thank you for joining the program today.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Yes. Why did you decide to write this book in the first place?
Well, I first went to the temple in 1974.
Yes.
And like almost everyone who visits this place, I was enchanted. You're standing there in the presence of great civilization, great religious architecture, and you're at the top of a mountain that has a view for maybe 100 kilometers. So I was enchanted, like most everyone, and I returned in 2010 at a time when the current dispute between Thailand and Cambodia was heating up again.
Right.
And it occurred to me that this was a fabulous subject for a book. I've often been surprised at how little Cambodians and Thais know about each other's history.
That's true, yeah.
And I felt that by writing a book that brought all the facts together as we know them, and writing it in a nice sort of objective tone about this subject that is often very emotional, that maybe that would serve some purpose in
at least the
calming
facts,
down things.
At least you're trying to get the facts right.
That's right.
And are you saying you are quite objective over the issue?
I've tried
not taking sides between Thailand and Cambodia?
I have not taken sides. I tried just to put the facts out there.
Well, I see this picture is quite interesting because I think very few people have seen it. It's the team of lawyers on the Cambodian side.
Right.
These are from the Thai side, and Mom Rachong Seni Pramod.
That's right.
He's the leader of the Thai team. And, of course, we all know what happened there. And then, of course, the ICJ verdict in the recent movement has put Thailand in not a very favorable position. And the Thai people still look at Khao Pravihan, or as you say in Cambodia, Khao Priyavihan.
Priyavihan.
Yes. And, well, a mixture of feelings, you know, perhaps pride, perhaps anger, perhaps disappointment, but still, you know, trying to come to peace with history. What is the most interesting new things that you have found in this book?
Well, I would say this. The two countries are divided, but the emotion in both countries is driven by the same kind of historical dynamic.
Right.
On the Cambodian side, Cambodia, when they were the Khmer Empire, the civilization that built Angkor, they controlled almost all of mainland Southeast Asia.
Yes.
And then in subsequent centuries, they were compressed down to become the much smaller country of Cambodia.
Right.
By the Thais and by the Vietnamese. And so the Cambodians feel that that they really have to watch out for their Cambodia, for their territorial integrity, even today. But on the Thai side, 100 years ago, you had the same dynamic. Thailand, that is Siam, had taken its place in Southeast Asia as a major regional power. It felt that this was the natural role that it played in the region. And then a big country comes along and starts compressing Thailand. That is France, the French colonial power. So on both sides of the border, you have this similar dynamic in play. I thought that was quite interesting.
Strong feelings on both sides.
Yeah. I would say in Cambodia, stronger, in that everybody in Cambodia knows about this temple and cares about it and wants to defend it. And on the Thai side, a lot of people know, but the emotions are not so strong. There are many people who don't really have an opinion one way or another as to what should happen to this temple.
So what is the conclusion of your book on this issue?
The conclusion of the book, that's a tough one.
Do you have a conclusion?
Well, my conclusion, my hope, is that we are now in a position where going forward we can look for some kind of long-term settlement. You know, this is a very tragic outcome, that this place that is a great symbol of human civilization has become a conflict zone. If you go there now, there are paramilitary police from both sides. There's barbed wire. There's no passage. It's a conflict zone, and you know, that's wrong for a place like this. And we are in a position now where there's been peace at the temple for 4 years. The two governments are getting more friendly. There's more cooperation going on between Phnom Penh and Bangkok. There is no overt tension over this issue, but it's still such a hot potato that essentially the issue has been put on hold. But going forward, there have been a number of proposals on solving this problem. One of them is joint history textbooks, in which Thais and Cambodians would grow up knowing something about their common history. I think they tend to see themselves as very separate. Outsiders tend to see the similarities between the two cultures.
Do you think there are more similarities than differences?
I think there are a lot of similarities. There are obviously linguistic similarities. Both languages are very heavily influenced by Sanskrit. Thai Wats and Thai and Cambodian Wats look essentially the same. Both countries are sort of Hindu-influenced civilizations. And it's a shame that the differences are the things that are emphasized.
If you put the academics from Thai and Cambodian sides together, you think they will be able to agree on a common textbook on Khao Phraya?
I think it would take a lot of negotiation. But maybe they can read this book here. And I think this book lays out the real, true history of the place to the extent I've been able to verify and document it. And starting from ancient times, going all the way forward to present times.
The version that you have here, would it offend both sides or would it please both sides?
Well, I think there's something for both sides.
Something for both sides?
Something for both sides that they would
you have like access to the declassified information from the American side. What are some of the new things that you have found?
Well, the cable traffic, the memos that the U.S. embassies in Phnom Penh and Bangkok were writing back to Washington were declassified recently. And you can go into the U.S. National Archives in Washington, outside Washington, and read them. And they show how the U.S. was trying to mediate. The U.S. did not want this dispute to boil over, this dispute between Cambodia and Thailand. They viewed it as a distraction. They wanted to have peace between Thailand and Cambodia. They hoped that Sihanouk, Prince Sihanouk, who was the leader of Cambodia at the time, would be friendly and would cooperate in the larger U.S. objectives in Indochina.
At that time, what was happening in China?
Well, the U.S. Vietnam was divided into North and South, and the U.S. role in the South was getting bigger and bigger with advisors and military aid.
The Vietnam War was starting.
It was starting. It was still low level.
So the Americans didn't want any trouble between Thailand and Cambodia.
That's right. And there were also constant crises and conflicts in Laos between communist, neutral, and pro-Western factions.
Sure.
So the American side wanted Thailand and Cambodia to be friendly.
Yes.
And so the Americans were trying to arrange what they called press truces.
Press truces.
In which the media, the newspapers and radio in Thailand and Cambodia would agree not to attack and insult the other side, which would hopefully allow there to be some kind of reconciliation
would have been
between the two
difficult
countries.
because both sides, the media on both sides were quite aggressive.
That's right.
About the issue.
Ultimately, it was not successful.
No.
And ultimately, the Thai side was occupying the temple at the time and saying that it was Thai territory. And in 1959, the Cambodians brought a suit in the ICJ, asking the ICJ to declare that this was, in fact, Cambodian territory. It's interesting that the two embassies at the time took the positions of their host governments.
Really?
แรงทั้งรวยกันอีกครั้งกับ Nissan NP 300 Navara Day กระบะแรงสุด190แรงม้ามอบโชค190รางวัลจองวันนี้ลุ้นทองคำรวมกว่า4ล้านบาททดลองขับรับเลยคูปองเงินสด Tesco Lotus 200 บาทพิเศษดาวต่ำเพียง 29,999 บาทพร้อมประกันภัยชั้น1ฟรีและข้อเสนออีก